So now we will talk about the structure of the soil. The structure of the soil actually means the arrangement of the particles, like the sandy particles, the silt particles and the clay particles. Their arrangement will be called as the structure. How they are arranged. Suppose this is a silt particle, this is a sand particle, and this is a clay particle. So they are arranged, they are aggregated, and those will be called as the individual aggregates, and those individual aggregates will be called as the peds. But when many peds will aggregate, that means there is a mass of aggregation of the aggregates. That means when we will call out the mass of aggregates, those will be called as the clod. So there is the difference between the peds and clods. Peds are actually the individual aggregates, but clod are actually the mass of aggregates. Okay, so now we'll talk about the structure of the soil. But before starting the structure of the soil, we have to know that there is some structureless soil too. That means there is no structure in some of the soil, and that only can be possible when there will be no ped. That means those will be called as the pedless soil. Pedless soil means there is no aggregation, that means there is no structure, that's why they are structureless soil. So pedless soil or the structureless soil are same. So there are two kind of structureless soil. One is the single grain soil, second is the massive. What is the single grain soil? You can see this the ped, this a ped, this a ped. That means they're not ped, sorry, I am very much sorry, there's not ped, there's the particles. This is the particles, okay, they are not forming peds. That means they are not aggregating, there is no attachment between these particles, that's why there is no formation of the peds. So as there is no peds, that means there is the more pore space. You can say more pore space, here, more pore space, and that's why those soil will be called as the single grain structureless soil. And example is the sandy soil. There is no ped in case of sandy soil. Second one important is the massive structureless soil. What is the massive structureless soil? Here you can see the particles are not attached, but in case of massive structure, we can see that there is the closely adhesion. Don't think these are the peds, these are not peds, but they are massively adhered to each other. That means there is very less chance of having peds, and that's why this kind of soil are called as a massive or puddled structureless soil. And when puddled, we know that in case of rice field we can see this puddled soil, and in case of puddled soil you can see there is very high water holding capacity, because water cannot go inside this sheet in case of this sheet. Okay, so these are two structureless soil. Now we'll talk about the structure of the soil. Before knowing of the structure of the soil, we have to remember that what are the factors those are responsible for forming the structure. The particles will not automatically adhere. There will be some reason why they will adhere, and that's why there is some reason or factor for the structure formation. First one important is that ions. The different kind of ions plays different kind of role in case of structure formation. Suppose there is the soil having the high concentration of calcium plus and H plus ion, and another soil has the high concentration of magnesium and potassium ion. Soil having the calcium and hydrogen ion will have the more aggregation compared to the soil having the Mg++ and potassium ion. So that's the important point you have to remember. Question may come from this point. Another important point is the water. We know water is polar agent, has the maximum polar power, and that's mean they can help the binding two particles. Okay, so second important point is the water. Third important point is the aluminium and iron oxide. Those are called as the sesquioxide. This sesquioxide actually plays an important role as a cementing agent. That's why they are helpful in forming soil structure. Now we'll talk about the different kind of soil structure. The only thing you have to remember regarding this soil structure is that their name, their type, what are the feature, and in which soil horizon it is found, and in which type of soil it is found. So first of all, we start about the platy structure. From the name platy, we can understand that they are plate-like structures. You can see this is plate-like structure, and this platy structure is found in the subsoil. We know that subsoil is nothing but the B horizon, and it is found mainly in the clay soil. Okay, so here I have written another thing, the horizontal cleavage, that will be covered in the later part of the video. Okay, so now second important soil structure is that prism-like structure. In case of prism-like structure, we can see the two kind of prism. One is the prismatic, and second one is the columnar. In case of prismatic like prism structure, you can see that the upper part is flat. Okay, but in case of columnar structure, those are not flat. Those are round shaped, those are curved shaped. That's the difference between this prismatic and columnar. And the particles or peds in this prism like structure, we can see that the diameter of them are 15 centimeter. And prism like structure is again found in the B horizon and in clay soil of the arid and semi-arid region. So these two important points you have to remember. Another important structure is that block like structure. Block like structure, remember the benzene ring, it is like that. It has 1 2 3 4 5 6 face, but the benzene ring actually has the regular shape. There is the symmetry in case of benzene ring, but suppose this there is no shape, these are irregular, but still have 1 2 3 4 5 6 face. So that is the structure of the block like structure. It is 6 faced, but it is irregular. Okay, and this block like structure is found in the B horizon. Okay, but in the upper part of the B horizon. So that's the fact regarding the block like structure. It is also found in the B. So first three, platy, prism and block like structure is found in B horizon. You have to remember this, and also you have to remember that the prism like structure has the diameter of 15 centimeter. The particle has the diameter of 15 centimeter, but in case of block like structure, the diameter will be 2 to 5 centimeter. Okay, but the fourth important structure is that the spheroidal structure. Spheroidal means there will be spherical, and this spheroidal structure has the in case of this spheroidal structure, the particle has the diameter of less than 2 centimeter. Here you can see that those previous two has high diameter 15 2 to 5. Okay, but in case of spheroidal structure, it is less than or equal to 2 centimeter. That means they are small. And as they are small and as they are granular, that means there will be the enough pore space in between them. Okay, and that's why the spheroidal structure can be grouped as two important group. Another is the granular and another is the cramp. In case of granular, those particles will be loosely aggregated. Okay, but in case of cramp, there will be high pore space. Both have high pore space, but in case of granular structure, we can see they are loosely aggregated, but in case of cramp like structure, there will be high pore space. And because of this high pore space and round spherical structure and less surface area, this two, granular and cramp, are best for the agricultural purposes, or you can say as best for the plant growth. Okay, so you can see here that I have told you that there is the more pore space in between them in case of spheroidal structure. That means some factors are there which are playing important role in case of making the pore space, and we all know that if we add the organic matter in the soil, there will be automatically increase in the pore space. That means in case of spheroidal structure, soil having the spheroidal structure must have the more organic matter. And it is also true in case of clay soil. This spheroidal structure is actually seen because there is the presence of the clay humus, there is the presence of the lime, and those are promoting the cramp formation. That means that is the responsible for the pores in between them compared to the sandy soil. In case of, we all know that sandy soil may be the structureless soil, it can be the structureless soil. Also it is found that in case of clay structure, it is found more in the clay structure rather than the sandy soil. And the summary will be like that: these first three, 1, 2, 3, the platy, prism and block like structure, we can see that those three are found in the B horizon, but the granular structure or the spheroid structure in broad sense are actually found in the A horizon. And also found that the B horizon has the big particles. We can see the prism like structure has the 15 centimeter, block like structure has the 2 to 5 centimeter, but the spheroidal structure has less size, 2 centimeter. That's why in general we can see that B horizon has the bigger soil particles. As they are bigger, they has the less pore space, that means they are not prone to shrinkage, that's why called as the less shrinkage. And in case of B horizon, it is found that there is the less fluctuation of the soil moisture, that's why there will be the less expansion. Okay, and another two important point is the difference between the soil structure of the semi-arid and humid area region. Okay, in case of semi-arid region, there will be the presence of the granular structure and prismatic structure. Okay, so in case of semi-arid, we will find the granular plus prismatic structure. But in case of humid area, you can only find from the granular plus platy or block. That means in case of semi-arid region, there will be no platy and block, only prismatic, but in humid region there will be the more the platy and block like structure. But in case of both region, granular structure will be present because those are present in the A horizon. Now another classification of soil is there on the basis of the cleavage found in the soil structure. Okay, so these two are the definite cleavage and the indefinite cleavage. In case of definite cleavage, there are the three type of definite cleavage: the vertical, the horizontal and mixed. And the vertical cleavage is found in the prismatic and columnar, that means prism like structure. You can see that in case of prism like structure we can find the vertical cleavage, but the horizontal cleavage is found in the platy and laminar structure. That means in case of platy, the horizontal cleavage is found, and mixed is found in the block like structure, nut like structure, granular and crump. In this case we can found the mixed cleavage. And in case of indefinite cleavage, we can found in the structureless soil, like the single grain, like the massive, as we have discussed it. Okay, so this is the less important topic, but I have to cover. The most important topic now is the factors affecting the soil structure. Now, what are the factors affecting the soil structure? First, I have told in the very beginning of this soil structure discussion that there is the ions, there is the water, and there is the organic matter and the sesquic oxide. So here I will discuss more about them. Okay, so first of all is the soil management, the tillage. You all know that in case of tillage there will be the compression of the soil, that means there will be the destruction of the soil. That's why zero tillage concept is there. We should not disturb the structure of the soil. Okay, na? That's the concept of the zero tillage, and that's why it is written in the first point that the soil management actually affect the soil structure. Second important point is that the ions, we have also told that in case of soil having calcium and hydrogen, they will aggregate the soil particles more compared to the soils having the magnesium and potassium ion. You can also see another ion like the barium and the sodium. You can find that in case of soil having calcium plus, Ba plus and H plus has the more aggregation power compared to the soil having the Mg plus plus, Na plus and K plus. So those will be responsible for the dispersion in the soil structure, but these are responsible for the aggregation of the soil structure. Third is the microorganisms. We all know that microorganisms means the organic matter. This organic matter drastically change the soil structure, and the organic matter, when there is the organic matter, there will be the microbes like the fungi, bacteria, and their earthworm actually are also the farmer's friend because of the changing in the soil structure by forming the more pore space. Okay, the fourth important point is the soil moisture. We all seen in very area that where the clay percentage is more in any soil. In case of dry season, there will be the crack in the soil like that. Okay na? So because of the moisture hold them to aggregate in the clay structure. When there is the dry period, that means the aggregation is loose, that's why they crack in the soil. And fifth one is that we all know that organic matter is the binding factor, because they has the chelating power. Okay, and then because of that chelating power, soil particles aggregate. And because of the presence of the organic matter, we know that there will be the more pore space, more water holding capacity. Okay, and this ferrous oxide, the sesqui oxide actually work as the cementing agent. Okay, so in general we can see that what are the flocculation agent. These are the flocculation agent: Ba plus, Ca plus plus, Mg plus plus, Al3 plus. Okay, these are the bridges. This work as the bridges in between organic matter and soil particles. When in the soil there will be more of presence of these ions, there will be the more flocculation. Okay, and not only this ion, we have to add also the organic matter, otherwise with which this ion will aggregate. They need the organic matter and the soil to bridge between them and to make the soil structure more correct. Okay, so in the next video we'll talk about the particle density in details. Okay, with all the formula and all the factual information, everything. So that's for today. That's the video regarding the soil structure and soil texture. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share this video with your friends.